Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, X7, your master of the martial and mystical arts. Because today it is Shaolin Saturday, and we are going to be talking about a movie that combines both of those items: magic and martial arts, black magic and martial arts. So, before we're going to change things up just a tiny bit here and play the intro now. All right. Our movie begins in Transylvania, 1804. It's just a long time ago. Even now, it's even over 220 years ago. So our movie today is The Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires, which has got like 100, well, at least one other different names. In the United States, it was originally released as The Seven Brothers and Their One Sister Meet Dracula. It was cut, I don't know, they had about 15 minutes cut out. It runs 90 minutes, more or less. Was released in the United States, I want to say, well, it was released in Hong Kong on July 7th, 1974, August 29th, 1974 in London, and then much later in the United States and as a disaster. This is a Shaw Brothers Hammer Films movie combination, co-production, that's the word. So Shaw Brothers was reaching out all over. They sent people to Italy, a couple of different movies there in Italy: The Stranger and the Gunfighter with Lee Van Cleef, Amazons and Superman, or Super Stooges versus the Wonder Woman. But it's been a minute since I've watched The Stranger and the Gunfighter. We'll probably review that at some point here. Anyway, the movie stars, of course, well, it starts here in Transylvania, allegedly. This is Ka, who's played by, excuse me, where is his name? Ka the High Priest, Chan Chen. He's limping along, gimping around. He's kind of deterred by the manger setting here. Then he sees Castle Dracula, which is nice. That's probably a matte painting right there, but it looks great. And he goes in there because, he wants Dracula's help. Dracula here is played by John Forbes Robertson. He's the only other actor than Christopher Lee to play Dracula. I did not know that. His voice was provided by David D. Kaiser, but he was uncredited, of course. That happens. He was probably redubbed because this was all shot in Hong Kong, and so it probably also was shot silently. He wants Dracula's help, and we get subtitles because he speaks in probably Cantonese. I wasn't listening enough, so sorry about that, because there is a way to tell Cantonese and Mandarin apart. It might have been Mandarin, but I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Dracula understands him just fine. Sichuan is a southern province, I think. Pingquay. He wants him to resurrect the seven golden vampires. And Dracula can't get out. He's been cursed. Somehow he is stuck in Transylvania. So, but since he can, he takes over Ka's body so he can leave the castle. Ka wants him to return his town to its former glory by summoning the golden vampires back. So here's the title card there. The movie, like I said, 1974, starring Peter Cushing and, missed one, David Chang, who is speaks English all the way through it. So that is his real voice. Maybe it wasn't shot silently. Julie Eage there, I suppose that's how you say it. I think she was in The Creatures the World Forgot, which is awful. No, apparently, well, I don't see it in. Oh, that would have been 71, right? Or 73? Well, apparently not. I don't remember now. On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Oh, there it is. The Creatures the World Forgot as Nala, the girl. I've seen that once and will never watch it again. She was in The Mutations. I think that was with Tom Baker. Yeah. Right before he became Doctor Who, but right after he did this, The Golden Voyage of Sinbad. All right. She passed away on April 29th, 2008 at age 64. But she's very good in this. It's a very well done movie. Robin Stevens is Nayland. Nayland? Leyland. What the hell was his? Get down here. Cast. Leyland Van Helsing, Professor Van Helsing's son. And then Shizu is Mai Kuei, one of the sister of the seven brothers and their one sister. Later on, special effects by Les Bowie. I'm assuming they just brought everybody over to Hong Kong because it was shot entirely there. We know these names, Lau Kar Long and Tong Chia, of course. And the fights are pretty darn good overall. And directed by Roy Ward Baker, who did not think much of the movie, but, it was a job. Work is work. And now we flash forward 100 years to Chungking, where Professor Van Helsing is having a lecture there about vampires. They don't believe him, but he tells the story of this farmer who, see, there's some scant nudity in here. Well, there's nudity in here, but I tried to be tasteful. Can't really see anything here. We'll shrinkify it. And there's the golden vampires. There's 7 of them plus Dracula. So maybe it was Legend of the 7 Golden Vampires and Dracula. Oh, we've also got this here. You'll see the trailer.
Black belt against black magic in the greatest battle of all time.
What is this? An AIP trailer? So they have the ability to summon undead who also drink blood. They drain the blood of their victims, always female, into this cauldron, which keeps them alive. So there's Dracula in his guise as Ka. There's the farmer there confronts one of the vampires and pulls off his little golden vampire, which causes him to seep smoke. He runs into a Buddha, and they're chasing him, and then he gets killed. It is Hammer, and it is also Chong Che did some of the direction as well of these because Chinese, and that means blood too, as well in addition to. But unfortunately, old Smokey here can't. He tries to grab it on the Buddha statue, the statue of the Buddha, and bursts into flame. Kind of like holy water, I guess. So now we're down to 6 golden vampires. And then they just leave it there until David Chang is there at the, and he plays, what's Shi Ching or Shi Ten En, depending, I suppose, on the dub.
As the 7 brothers and their one sister meet Dracula.
This is not the 7 Golden Vampires trailer, you bastards. Be that as it may, Leyland there is talking to Robert Hanna as the British consul. Leyland is Robin Stewart, best known for playing Mike Abbott, son of Sid James' character Sid Abbott in the 1970 sitcom Bless This House. Good-looking kid, young. And there's Julie Eage, and a friend of hers, I guess. She's Scandinavian or Norwegian. She's a widower who's got lots of money, and she's in Hong Kong doing a world tour. Meanwhile, while his son's out having a good time, Professor Van Helsing meets up. Well, David Chang gets into it. Yeah, he just climbs up there and tells him that no, we have proof that those vampires exist. Leyland is, of course, very interested in Vanessa, is her name. And then, so are the Tong members, or the Triad. I think they're Tong members. They don't get any lines because they don't really have anything to do but get killed. There's the proof that the 6 golden vampires exist still. So while Vanessa and Leyland go home, they get accosted by, well, these are the good guys. Two of the brothers, the bowman and the double axe. You remember Long and Short Axe from Kid with the Golden Arm. Think that. And they beat the crap out of them and kill everybody, pretty much. I just wonder what the police think finding these dead bodies in the street. Leyland, of course, is a master of boxing, but his United Kingdom boxing or British boxing is no match for at least. Well, he doesn't know what he's up against because really, if you know how to, boxing's a martial art, right? So, but he gets saved. They come back there and bind up their wounds. Apparently, Vanessa's hungry, and now they're saying, "Do you want to come to our town and help us get rid of this scourge of the vampires?" None of these sparkly vampires romantic crap here.
While vampires drink the blood of the virgins and turn them into zombies.
Choppy. So Vanessa says, I've got the money. I'll finance the expedition because they needed money to get supplies and things. It's a fair trek. No cars yet in China, apparently. No roads as we know them. And Van Helsing says, no, I can't permit this. And his son says, Dad, tough darts, farmer. She's going to go. And she's just like, yeah, I'm going. I'm financing. I'm going. So they're like, all right. There's a gorgeous, I would assume this is on the Shaw Brothers lot because they were still shooting things outside at this time. And it's windy. It just makes it, I don't know, it gives it some real world heft, I think. And now Leyland has met Mai Kuei, Shizu, who is in lots of things, and I'm surprised she was never a bigger star than she was because she can fight, she can act. She's really good. I think she's still alive here. Hard to tell. Boy, they don't have a lot on her. She was seen in Marco Polo, The Naval Commanders, Jade Tiger, Clan of Amazons, Avenging Eagle. She was great. I don't know why she was not a bigger. I guess she probably got married and was like, okay, I'm done. But she didn't appear in a lot of movies, a lot of these kung fu movies, which is, she was really good. And okay, so then they get accosted by bandits of the Tong who were hired probably. And we meet the other brothers, the guy with the mace. She's the master of the double blades. She's just confident. And look at that face. She's serious. And the battle is on. So this is our first real kung fu fight scene. And there's a lot of people out there who are not killing themselves. There's no over cranking or under cranking here. It's all shot straight time. So it looks a little slower than what we're used to from the Shaw Brothers, but I think that was probably a Hammer decision. And she just goes all out. I mean, you can see David Chang there pulling his kick. He does a great job. I don't care. I don't know why people are so down on him, whether he was a martial artist or not. He generally does exactly what he needs to do, and he looks great doing it. He holds his own with Van Helsing, with Peter Cushing, and he's got a really good presence in this movie. There's the two twin brothers who Sons of the Sword, copyright. And look at that face. This guy got shot in the back with an arrow. And there's the master of the spear. Let's see. Lau Kar-wing is the archer. He's, of course, one of the Lao clan. I believe he might have worked on Master of the Flying Guillotine. Blake will know. He always knows. The spearman there is Huang Pei Chi as Shi Po Kuei. And that spear there is made out of silver. Hint, 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 hint. And Leyland's just astounded. And they're all just watching this carnage as the seven brothers and their one sister just beat the crap out, or kill everyone there. Eagle Claw. Yeah. Southern Eagle Claw, of course. And they're done. And not a one of them has a battle's wound on them. They're just wiping off the blood and going about their business. The mace is that spiked mace is a very interesting weapon because it's not a traditional, everything else is a pretty traditional Shaolin weapon, but that mace, I have never seen one in my school. Not that you couldn't use one, but there were esoteric weapons. The horses have all got run away except for this one, so they've still got a long way to go. That evening, David Chang introduces Van Helsing to his brothers and sister. The pictures here came from the DVD I have from one Konstantin Furman. I know there's a Blu-ray out, and I don't own it. I thought about it. I'm still thinking about it because I really do like this movie. Might be my favorite. Well, except for Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, might be my second favorite Dracula movie. But he goes through all of who they are there, and there's Shizu's doing the cooking, and they mention that Leyland is very interested in her, and they're eating a traditional, using a spoon instead of chopsticks. So the Western influence is there, but that spoon is very traditionally Asian as well, a pseudo soup spoon. All right, so now they're all planning their what the next move is because, of course, that's not what I want. There is what I want. And we see the other romance blossoming between David and Vanessa. Yeah, I know he's not David, but that's what I'm. He's good. He's really good. He should have been he was a big star in Hong Kong, but the fact that he showed up in here speaking very good, excellent English, but better than Bruce Lee actually. And there's our other romance blossoming, and there's Dracula feeding.
I haven't seen Kung Fu until you've seen the seven brothers and their one sister in action against Dracula.
So this part is just going over the fight we just saw. Dracula has nothing to do with this fight. None of them meet him. In fact, none of them meet Dracula. They meet the vampires, but not Dracula. Shizu gets David Chang obviously gets top billing, but in the trailer, Shizu gets a higher billing than him. So now they're back on there, and see, he's just relaxed in this company of international people. His English is very good. Like I said, I keep saying that. Hers is fine, so they all get along. I'm sure they both could take direction properly because sometimes a language barrier happens on these multinational sets. But I like it. Look at this. This is a little forward thinking for 1974. And everyone's trying to stay awake here because they figure something's going to happen. Now, we're going to see a shot. I had to lighten it a bit. These vampire bats are, obviously not real. They're on strings. They look exactly the same as anyone from the 40s. It's like they've never figured out how to do this properly. The only time it is properly done is if the vampire bat is actually animated. I'm sure they can do CG bats now that look pleasant enough, but they just flap them around and they don't look like they're flying at all. They look like they're flapping. It's 1974. You could look at the ones from Dracula in 1931 or Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein Dracula. They had Walter Lantz animating it as, it looks great. So three of the seven vampires attack, and she springs into action. Now Leyland, I don't know why I call him Wayland. Leyland's got a gun, but that's useless against creatures who don't have any blood. Judo. But here's Les Bowie and his effects, where he had balloons and they just let the air out, and they're very effective. Now look, there's a hook sword there. And Leyland's figured out, or he probably taken some lessons from Shizu. I keep forgetting her name. Mai Kuei. Um, so it's and he looks a lot better. And he took his martial arts, did what he was told to do, and looks great. There's David Chang just throwing them away. I mean, just even with their hook swords. And once again, another one. They can either remove the golden vampire and use fire. But look at that; it's gross. The eyes ooze. It's very easy. I mean, it's an in-camera effect. They don't have to do anything special to it, but it looks great. There he is. That's what we just saw. There's a lot of screaming in this trailer, but it is the U.S. trailer. That's the seven brothers and their one sister meet Dracula, which don't even bother watching it. I know they include the movie on both DVD and Blu-ray sets, but it's just not that good. So here, everyone's survived. They're all thinking they're great because they've survived, and she's asking him. Her English is very good too. That if he's scared of her, and he says no. And now they're getting ready for the final battle. Dun dun dun! And look at that; they're just smiling. It's like they're right before they're for those about to rock. We salute you. They don't look so happy, but she's beat up. I mean, they're not afraid to look not glamorous. Dracula summons more of these hordes who break out of the tombs, and now fireworks. But the final battle is taking place here. Uh-oh. So yes, she gets bitten, chompy, and that's a sexy vampire. But David knows what's got to happen because David's always know what's got to happen. I don't know why I know that. But she does bite him, and he impales her on a spike because you don't want to that. And then he realizes, and he impales himself. So commits, for honorably, because neither of them want to live as the undead. And she's just Mai gets kidnapped while the fight is on and taken back to Dracula. More fire. So most of them are done, but she puts up a good show here. And there she is. And this guy, he's like, but
Die, Dracula, die! See the 10,000-year-old monster disintegrate before your eyes.
we will. And so Leyland fights him, and then Dad shows up and spears him in the back. He falls into the blood vat, disintegrates, and now everyone thinks, okay, we must be done. However, Ka shows up, but he's got Dracula's voice. Really well done. The matched at the dubbing is great. And then he turns back into Dracula and just backhands him twice and sends him tumbling, chroming off everything. Yeah, I wanted to use the word chrome. But unfortunately, he knocks him over here, between these, there where the silver spear is, and gets a silver spear right through him. Ah! And there he is, disintegrating, as the trailer said.
As the seven brothers and their one sister meet Dracula.
Yeah. So the spear falls in and cracks the skull, which is, as we know, you really need to separate the skull from the body or Dracula can come by. They just figure out a way to get Dracula back every time. But that's it. There you go. We get some more credits here, and that's our Shaolin Saturday. I know Shaolin Temple wasn't there, but there are a lot of temples, so it works. So, my fellow agents, until our next assignment, this is X7 signing off. I hope you have liked, shared, and subscribed, and left a comment. Thank you.
Black belt against against black magic in the greatest battle of all time. As the seven brothers and their one sister meet Dracula. Vampires drink the blood of the virgins and turn them into zombies. You haven't seen Kung Fu until you've seen the seven brothers and their one sister in action against Dracula. Dracula, die! See the 10,000-year-old monster disintegrate before your eyes as the seven brothers and their one sister meet Dracula.